I was on with a client the other evening and we had a conversation about this role that she took 6 months ago as a test for what was maybe a potential career opportunity. And what she's discovering is she's finding it increasingly difficult to show up in a place where she's not sure that it aligns with her gifts, skills, talents, and passions.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Live Fully, Lead Authentically, a Brimstone coaching podcast. You just heard the voice of Chris Godfredson. He is my coaching partner and co founder. I'm Kurt Bush, also coach and co founder of Brimstone Coaching Group. Chris, thanks for being here. Always good to sit down and do an episode with you.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So, why don't you say a little more about that story that you just told? What else would you
Yeah.
say about it?
Yeah, I would love to say more about it. And as this person and I are spending time together, it's just really like the struggle is real in that uh, she is brilliant. She's talented, has been uber successful throughout her professional life, and now here she is, 35, 40 years old, and is in this place where the struggle has become real. And to a degree, in the struggle, it's like, I how do I get out of my own way? I'm
Yeah.
blanking in meetings. I I know what to say, I know what to do, and then, oh, but what if? And so then as the company begins to struggle, then the idea becomes the challenge is becoming, well, like, what am I doing here and why am I here? And why do I find this so hard? It's not this hard.
Yeah.
And so the conversation turns to this place of, well, how is it that you're in your own way? Are you in your own way? To which she says, yeah. And then we start to just talk about, well, how? And how is one thing. Why is another thing altogether, right?
Yeah.
Why, why the struggle? Why are you in your own way? What are the things that are going on? And it was a riveting hour,
Yeah.
and the work is just beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really great way to start this conversation today. Chris, we told our listener last time that we were going to start this 5 episode series aimed specifically at small business owners, founders, mission driven leaders,
Yeah,
nonprofit leaders. And today we're going to talk about sabotage. And you just talked a little bit about the idea of like self-sabotage, right? Being
yeah,
being in our own way. Um,
yeah,
I am curious this idea of being in my own way stirs up
yeah,
some stuff in me, and I
yeah,
do think the difference between the how and the why seem pretty important. Um, when you say, now I'm trying to interview again.
yeah. Well, this
uh,
is occupational hazard for me.
uh, can you rephrase getting in your own way, like in your mind, like say that differently?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that there are sometimes we have limiting beliefs or we make
Mm,
disempowering meanings out of things that take place when we get on a Zoom call and we're supposed to be working with a client.
yeah,
And what happens is, oh, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand the business well enough. I'm not hearing clearly because I'm worried about what they think about me. I'm worried
yeah,
about what are they perceiving about me? Am I smart enough to do this job? Where am I failing? Am I, all of the thoughts and to be able to take our thoughts captive in real time to be able to understand, well, is there an actual threat here?
yeah,
Am I at risk of losing this account? No. Okay. Well, if there's what's the threat? And
Yeah.
it's those threats that really create disempowering meanings and
Yeah.
limiting beliefs. And honestly, people have done this for generations,
Yeah.
generation after generation. We have done it ourselves. We didn't know we were doing it
Yeah.
until we knew.
Yeah.
And then like, when you see it, you can't unsee it. And so there's opportunity to address the disempowering meaning
Mhm.
and the limiting beliefs that really, I think, they often get in our way.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense? How do you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, it brings me back to something we've said probably on this podcast before, that this is sort of what we would call working a second job
Yes,
while
sir.
trying to do the job that we're hired or we choose to do, or the job we
Yeah,
have decided to do. Like what you talk about with um, those feelings, those beliefs that stir up, that distract us, like that really is a whole second job that we're trying to keep ourselves safe, that we're
for
trying
sure.
to remind ourselves that we belong, trying to remind ourselves that we're good enough or that we're smart enough, um,
Yep.
all at the same time while it is undermining the thing we're trying to do.
Right. And so then there's a giving up of self that keeps me from like, I'm really good with people. So
Yeah.
can I just be with this customer? Can I be with them? Can I build a rapport? And then so that I can get to a point where there's a level of comfort with me being in my own skin,
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
can say, you know what, I don't have an answer to your question, or I can even be so bold as to say, you know what, can you talk to me like I'm a third grader?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I really, really want to understand.
Yeah.
And if I can humble myself like that to that place, like that will tear down. It requires understanding myself really well, right? And it requires understanding the threats. And but it will open up doors and opportunities for us in even in places where we might struggle or we don't think this is the right fit or
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
have you, right? So these are the things that really limit a lot of us.
Yeah. I'm curious. I wrestle with something, and I'd like to
Mhm.
maybe wrestle with it live.
Hey,
Um,
let's wrestle.
yeah, well, you would beat me.
Well, we're not in the same room,
Yeah.
so let's uh, intellectually duke it out.
Oh gosh. Well, I don't like the sound of that
Well,
either.
let's
So,
work it out.
yes,
Okay, let's
that's fair.
go.
That's fair.
Okay,
That's fair.
go.
This idea of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah,
That the things that we say or believe in ourselves ultimately become the things that we say or believe, or become true, right?
sure.
um if I don't know, if I don't do something around my house because I don't know how to do it, and things are always broken because I don't know how to do it, then things are going to be broken because I never learn how to do them and fix them, and it's just going
Right.
to kind of cycle around itself.
Hmm.
I don't know what to do with that principle, thinking about these sort of limiting beliefs or self-sabotage, right? So
Hmm.
when you talk about the example of, am I going to lose this account? I have a situation that I go to in my head, and I like
Hmm.
immediately I'm painting a picture in my head of a scenario.
Yeah.
And I would, one of my limiting beliefs would be, man, it would be hard for me to say, hey, why don't you tell that to me like I'm a third grader? That would be hard for me to say because I would be afraid somebody was going to think I'm dumb. Now,
Hmm.
I would never say that that the self-fulfilling prophecy is that now people are going to think I'm dumb. Like I don't think that's the case. But
Right.
I do, this is the wrestling piece. How do we frame this idea that while it's not going to make it true, it is going to continue to build and perpetuate and exponentially make the situation harder, and like harder to dig out of even. Would you want to push on, like,
Hmm.
how do we frame that? Like the more and more I live into these limiting beliefs, the harder it is to think differently, the harder it is to get out of them, the harder it is to replace them. Would
Right.
you agree with that?
Yeah. Isn't that's true? Is it not? Where because it becomes known, it's
Yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
it's repeated, it's on repeat, wash,
Yeah.
rinse, repeat, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just keep on doing the things that we've always done, and if we keep doing what we've always done and expect a different result, there is a word for that, right? And so
Yeah.
the, I think we need to break the cycle, and that begins with, I mean, things that we think and talk about a lot around here, right? I mean, there was a time in your life when that thing was useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever it is that whatever the limiting belief is, it came from a place of really having a deep desire for self-protection.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need, I mean, we all have a need for safety and security.
Yeah.
And we want to feel safe in the moment, wherever we are and whatever that moment is. And when we don't feel safe, well, we get into action.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, we get into action. It is just nervous system. It's trying to get us back to having that experience of feeling safe. And because we made a promise to protect ourselves at all cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there are times, I think, when that's alive in us, that and we feel like we're at something is at risk or at stake, where we get into the autopilot way of being, and we just respond and we do
Yeah.
what we've always done. And so yeah, how do you hear that? Do you want to correct that? How would you add to what I said?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to correct anything. I mean, I think the immediate thought I have is, we have these automatic reactions. We would say
Hmm.
our
Yeah.
protective promise causes us to get into behavior or get into patterns of behavior that keep us stuck. I think what seems profound, what feels profound, is that while I can do that for years, right? I
Hmm.
can have those automatic reactions for years. I do think sometimes what's proven to be true for me is that one time of a different response can have a dramatic impact.
Right.
Not an impact that removes a protective promise completely without more work, like not something that
Yeah.
changes my life overnight, but one time of saying, "Hey, can you explain that to me a little differently?" Or, like doing something different one time can have a tremendous impact because it shows me that maybe, you always ask the question, am I going to die? you know
Yeah.
it shows me if I'm on a phone with a client or a customer and I say, hey, can you explain that to me a little differently? I'm not going to die.
No.
And they're not going to berate me, and they're not going to call
Yeah.
me dumb, and they're not going to do the things that I'm afraid of. So I do think just one instance of trying on something differently, if we can muster the courage, right,
Yeah.
that really does have an impact.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And so I ask myself that question, like, is this going to kill
Yeah.
me? Am I going to
Yeah.
die? You
Yeah.
you often ask, what is true?
Yeah.
So let's use that question, and I'm going to bounce it back to you to say, how is asking what's true in a situation like that? How is that serve the same purpose?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. So, can I paint the scenario that pops
Yeah,
up into my head?
please. Yeah, I would love it.
So, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that, like maybe even longer. I worked for a manufacturing company, and I spent like 3 months in like an inside sales position because
Hmm.
somebody had to go out long term for health reasons, and I filled in a spot, and I was grossly underprepared to do this. So like customers, like I had a set of customers that I would take care of and they would order and all this kind of stuff. And there's all this jargon and lingo, and I have
Yeah,
no idea what they're talking about. And they would talk to the previous inside salesperson differently than they would talk to me because we're different people. And I am instantly, when you said, am I going to lose this account? I'm instantly transported into that room in that cubicle
hmm,
in those situations. If I could go back and tell 15 years ago, Kurt, to ask the question, what is true? I
yeah,
think in that moment, if I could pause enough to ask it and like really be honest with an answer,
yeah,
I think the answer to what is true is that people want to be understood. People want to, in that case, people want to have their their job done correctly with them and
Yeah.
for them. People want to avoid mistakes. People want to help others do their job well. I mean, I think all of those things are true, but the limiting belief was I just have to figure this out. I can't ask questions. I'm going to look dumb, and then they're going to
Mm,
lose faith in me, and
yeah.
all this kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. It's debilitating.
it's
So
debilitating.
I can say the same thing. I can't tell you how many times in my sales career that I made cold calls on clients. And
Yeah,
the reality was that, boy, like I did not have any interest in them thinking that I'm worthless.
yeah, yeah.
And and I can trace that back to being probably 16. And I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but I know how to make change for customers years old.
Mm, yeah, yep, yep. I get it. Same.
And and, and I was waiting tables in a restaurant as a 16, 17-year old.
Mm,
And but I had never made change for a customer before. And this gentleman who was probably 40 or so, he was there with his wife and some friends. He came to the till after. I mean, he had already been rude to me throughout the evening, and then he
mm.
came to make to pay his bill, and I am at the till, and I didn't know how to make change.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow.
And he laughed in my face,
Oh wow.
and that leaves a mark.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And so anytime any of those things, when I feel that, it's alive in me. And so
yeah,
now I'm in a new job. I'm testing this job out. I've been at it for 6 months, and I'm not sure. I'm not fully getting it, and I'm highly capable. And I'm talking. And this is my client, right? And we're having this conversation, and all of this stuff is swirling to.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and so then what happens is all of a sudden we're to this place where, well, I'm gonna have to move, and I'm gonna have to find a
yeah,
job, and it can, like, I'm a meaning making machine, right?
yeah, yeah,
And it can take me all the way to, oh, now I'm gonna have to move home and live in my parents' basement. And
yeah, yeah,
and instead, like, can we rightly assess each moment? And
yeah,
you and I realize that we can.
yeah,
We can get to a place because you can ask yourself, oh, I'm feeling this thing. Like I feel it in my neck, it's in my stomach, my face is redder than red. Like
yeah,
I imagine that I was red as the sun or bright as the sun as this guy
yeah,
was laughing in my face.
yeah,
And 21-year-old me would have been looking for him in the bar.
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
56-year-old me knows that, well, that was that was a shaping experience,
yeah,
and I don't have to allow the meaning I made in that moment carry over, and neither do you, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
as you ask what's true, and this, oh, what if I lose this client? Well, like, I'm not going to die,
yeah,
but
yeah,
what if I lose a client? Now, if I
yeah,
lose all of the clients, I probably should find another job. And
yes,
there's times when we are grossly over our heads. We
yeah,
aren't in the
yeah,
right role and
yeah,
all this stuff. But the meaning we make, and then the story that we tell ourselves about the situation and ourselves in it, sometimes is true.
yeah,
Sometimes it isn't true. Sometimes
yeah,
it certainly isn't our best thinking. So then how do we get to a place where we can rightly assess what's actually happening here?
yeah, yeah. So a couple things stir in me. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe as a tangent, I do think you're right. There's probably a conversation about being grossly under skilled or qualified or in the wrong position. I actually think that's way less common
Yes.
than we think. Because I even think that conversation of like I'm in the wrong role or I got hired and it really is grounded in this protective promise that says, well, I fooled them, or they don't know me, or
Yeah, right.
employers and managers know who they hire more so than we give them credit for,
Yeah,
unless
I
we're
hope so.
actively deceiving them.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, so I think even that's grounded in some of those protective promise, limiting belief sort of things. But let me reflect back some of what I just heard to make sure I understand and the listener gets a picture. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
So in your example of the guy that laughed at you
Mm.
when you were 16, practically speaking, tangibly speaking, in the moment, hypothetically, 30-year-old Chris, when you're protecting against that,
Mhm.
tangibly speaking, your nervous system thinks that that guy or whoever's in front of you is going to have the same reaction as that guy, right?
Yeah.
You
For
are
sure.
feeling the threat that that thing is happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's probably oversimplifying to say, this is that guy, but
Mhm.
it's connected to that in a way where it feels like that guy, if I can use air quotes, is in front of you today.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that's part of the process, is to say that guy is not in front of you today.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
that's how I like to think about this. Like, tangibly,
Yeah.
that guy from that moment is not actually standing there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I'm not 16.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I now have counted change for plenty of people, or I have engaged in arguments and conflict in ways that were uh, far more true for who and how I am, right? I
Yeah.
mean, so
Yeah.
I don't have to make the same meaning or behave in the same way. And so, yeah, getting to
Yeah.
clarity as fast
Yeah.
as is humanly possible because the nervous system moves so fast, we react before our brain can catch up to what's going on,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so this doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of practice and paying attention to, oh, yep,
Yeah.
even being prepared in advance to a degree, right? There are
Yeah.
moments
Yeah.
that we know, oh, this is going to create an opportunity for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's and like yeah, there's going to be a chance that I'm triggered. I'm
Yeah.
stirred, and now how would I prefer to behave? And
Yeah.
that's for me that really is the work. That's part of the conversation we had to say, okay, so
Yeah.
like you're going to go to back to work tomorrow,
Yeah.
and how, you know what when you're on the next call, what's the hope?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like write stuff down.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do you want to be? And say it. To your point, I think at some point, reflecting back what you said somewhere along this in this conversation is, I am enough,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and that I'm hopeful these last couple of days stopped her from
Yeah. Yeah.
the normal way of being to say,
Yeah.
no, here's where I'm really good, and let's
Yeah.
employ those things
Yeah.
rather than no, I'm not good at this. I'm not sure I want to blah blah blah, right? And we all have our own limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
possible. It's possible that the person or the people that we're engaging with are also dealing with their own stuff,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's
Is
likely.
is that possible? I think so. That might have been the easy. That was the
Yeah.
layup for the day. That was the easiest statement that will be made in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, if that's true, then is it also possible that people aren't thinking about us or making
Yeah.
up stories about us near as often as we think they are?
Yeah.
I think
100%.
that's true, right? So, like one of those things that was self-sabotaging for me was I was so fearful that people would think or find out that I was worthless that I wrongly assessed almost everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then when we do this, the world misses out on the best version of ourselves all the time. I
Yeah.
cheated the world out of experiencing me, the me that I actually am,
Yeah.
in some, yeah, in all kinds of ways when I wasn't giving other people credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and so like my self-sabotage and the way I engaged and still to a degree sometimes like to your point, it's not like this is just goes away and it's all done and dealt with because every opportunity is exactly that. It's a chance
Yeah.
to like behave the way that we have taught ourselves to behave or to think
Yeah. Yeah.
we want to behave. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's so much here.
Yeah, I think to your point, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard I'm going to butcher this, but the sentiment that says when you go through life as a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah,
When I go through life imagining everybody's going to think that I'm dumb and that's going to have a negative impact, well, now I'm going to just think everybody thinks that, right?
exactly.
And
Yep.
it's just not the case. To your point,
It's not.
it's just not the case. Um, Here's a turn I want to make,
Yeah.
and you can push on this if you want. You know, we talk about small business owners, founders, mission driven people, nonprofit leaders. Um,
Yes.
I think why this seems so real in my mind for those folks, again, being at different stages of our lives, all of those people. Um,
Yeah.
I think what's true is when I think about my manufacturing company experience, like I get off the phone and I get to take a breath and like I kind of like get a break and I jump into a spreadsheet, do all these other things. But if I'm a small business owner, I go from a phone call with a vendor that I'm worried about looking stupid in front of, and now I've got an angry customer out front. And it just
Yeah.
comes at me so fast. Or if I'm a
It does.
nonprofit leader, I've got volunteer leaders on one hand, and then I've got part-time staff on the other, and then I've got donors. I've got all these different people
Yeah.
that require me to do all these things so quickly, and it just comes at me so fast.
Yeah.
And while it's not, while it's certainly present in other places of work or other capacities, I do think these sort of founders and nonprofit leaders and small business owners just have to be able to do this work so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So I think that's why we feel so strongly that this is work that fits in that realm really well. It's been true for us.
Yeah. It
That
has.
yeah.
I wonder if this is an opportunity to take a quick break and then come back and say more about that.
Have you ever walked out of a meeting or left a conversation thinking, why did I just show up like that? Why did I shrink back or explode or stay silent when it mattered? You're not alone and you're not broken. You're likely reacting from a pattern that started long before that meeting ever happened. In their new book, Live Fully, Lead Authentically, Kurt Busch and Chris Godfreyson unpack the hidden second job so many of us carry, spending our days managing the anxiety, fear, and old stories that shape how we lead. Through honest stories and practical tools, they invite leaders to pause, reflect, and lead in a new way. Get your copy today at brimstonecoachinggroup.com/new book. Order now. This is your invitation to lead differently.
Welcome back to Live Fully, Lead Authentically. Chris, before the break, we talked kind of theoretically. We talked about some of these limiting beliefs, our protective promises, how they lead to these things that kind of keep us stuck in these rhythms and patterns of behavior that aren't thriving or wholeness. What would you want to say? Like, what's a practical tool that we could offer the listener to like take a step towards authenticity and fullness and wholeness today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we were talking about uh, small business owners, retailers, nonprofit execs, right? And so we get off the phone with some kind of a provider, and now there's an angry customer right
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
waiting for us out front. The thing that's true about all these people, uh, the ones we've named and the ones we're kind of aiming at here, right, is that we carry a lot of the responsibility ourselves.
yeah,
We might not have large teams of people with which to interact or to be the buffer between the phone call and the person at the out in front.
yeah,
And so the misnomer. I think the place where I found myself as a small business owner who had walk-in customers, things like this,
Mm,
uh, is I thought that I had to get to it immediately,
yeah.
and they wanted me to get to it immediately,
Yeah, of
but
course. Yeah.
right, but my better thinking doesn't necessarily happen without thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the pro tip of the day, if you will, is this. What if you simply hang up the phone between, okay, I hang up the phone and there's a customer. What if I pause for 10 seconds? I mean,
Yeah.
a 10-second pause allows you to catch up.
Yeah.
Now, my body can catch up. My brain can catch up with my body. That's how I want to say it. My brain can catch up with my body. Now, can I reflect just a little bit on where have I been and what's in front of me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I think for just a moment and say and ask myself what's happening in me? Where am I? Am I at DEF CON 9 and I am going to just let everything fly when I deal with this customer, or can I get back to a place of being regulated
Yeah.
and then observe, am I ready? And so if I pause, reflect, and observe, I can do this 100 times a day.
Yeah.
I can do it between every call, between every customer, between every email, between every meeting, but even between interactions in a meeting. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm standing up and saying, "Oh, time out, ref. I need a TO."
Right.
And
Right.
and and I'm like verbally reflecting and I'm like doing a visible body scan, but I can do this internally in the moment.
Yeah.
And as people are using the tool, what I hear is, oh, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And it has stopped me and it stops me
Yeah.
from doing the things that I in my autopilot want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and what that does then is it has eliminated a lot of additional work that goes into when I get to clean up the mess I make when the autopilot kicks in.
Yeah.
And so, a way to think about navigating self sabotage is to pause and reflect and observe all the things that are alive. It can happen in the midst of talking with the angry customer. That's even possible.
Yeah.
And it can be done.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I,
it,
I think it's important. You said it. I want to affirm it that this is about how I show up and about how you show up and about the
yes,
listener. Like this pause is not going to make the customer less angry.
it's not.
You know,
Very well said. Thank you for saying that.
the pause is not going to make the people in the meeting around you less anxious,
Mm-mm.
but it might make me less anxious, right?
Yes,
It might give me the opportunity to show up the way I've decided I want to show up, right?
right.
Aligned with my preferred promises, aligned with who I want to be and how I want to be. So you said it. I just wanted to hold it up
Yeah,
and put
right.
light on it
And
a little
I'm
more.
really glad that you did because I think I want to ask a question about that. Like, what are you responsible for in any of this?
Yeah,
What do we have any say over?
yeah. I like how you said it the second time. I think it is true. I am responsible for me. At the
Yeah,
end of the day, I am accountable for how I show up with an angry customer or an angry client or angry donor or a
100%.
happy one, or I'm
Yes.
accountable for that, for my response. But I think how you said the second one, the little nuance difference is I can only have say or agency or control over me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And at
I
the end of the day, that's where my energy goes.
exactly. I'm responsible to the customer, the client, the people sitting around the meeting with me, but I'm not responsible for them. I don't have any
Yeah.
say in how they
Yeah.
experience me, how they think, how they feel, any of that. But I do have the opportunity to be the best me I can be in any and every moment because this
Yeah.
is, I, yeah, I'm my own greatest obstacle to showing up in the world the way that I want to.
Yeah.
And when I'm aware of that, when I pause, reflect, observe what's happening in me, now I can be the me I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Love that.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
So if this strikes a nerve or if it makes sense and people have some level of interest in having a conversation about how we can help them move or understand the ways that they've protected themselves to show up in the world in ways they prefer to like disrupt the self-sabotaging autopilot, how might somebody go about that?
Yeah, the easiest way, Chris, for the listener is to go to our website, brimstonecoachinggroup.com, and on there is a schedule call button where they can schedule a free, 100% free inquiry call with either you or me. It's 30 minutes. Did I mention it was free?
You
That
did.
that okay. Just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Uh,
No, I'm happy to have people pay for that too. But, mhm.
that call really is a way to have a discussion with either of us to see if where you, the listener, feel stuck might be a place where we can help you get
Yeah.
unstuck. This is the work we do with people all the time. This is the work that we exist to do as a coaching group.
Yeah.
So we love the chance to hop on one of those free calls and talk about this a little more.
Yeah, for sure. So try it out, pause, reflect, observe, and then re-engage. I mean, get back into
Yeah.
the game, whatever the game is that you find yourself in, and to really cement that, do what Kurt just suggested, and schedule one of those free calls today. I love the conversation today, Kurt. Is a good time. It'll be useful for anybody and everybody, but in particular, our friends who are founders, nonprofit execs, mission-driven leaders who are carrying all kinds of things, oftentimes alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.